the key to knowing how to get results is actually not so much about like this rigid step-by-step or like a script, but more about being adaptable. And that only comes from actually understanding the deepest reasons why people buy and how to craft a message that is truly memorable and also persuasive. Let's just get straight into it. The reasons why people buy. Hello. I am so excited to jump into today's session because I want to speak to the difference between just creating content for your social media versus actual strategic content that has your DMs just popping off with dream clients ready to work with you. And the main factor in all of it is whether or not you understand deeper consumer psychology. I'm not just talking like surface level, people buy from people they like. Or why don't you think about talking to their pain points and desires? I am actually talking about having that deep understanding of how the human psyche works and how to create messaging that actually shifts people into action. Because we're not here to just spend like 50 hours a day crafting up all of this content for then no results, right? The reason why you have a business is to get sales because you know what you're selling can help people in some way. And it's also going to help your bank account. So that's an added bonus. But this really encompasses everything from the languaging you use to the different buyer types, how to communicate to them, different even attachment styles or the deeper mindset things. Because when you can actually understand how the human psyche actually works, all of this becomes so much easier. So when you think about business, there are literally two main parts. Firstly, selling the damn thing to your dream clients. And the second part, delivering on what you sold. Business is not as complicated as people make it. And I'm going to assume that you're already pretty bomb ass at delivering on your service, right? You're the pro at that. So then the other part that we actually need to get better at, or can always get better at, even if you're popping off with sales every day, why not have more, right? So the other part is really understanding the sales piece. I actually go really, really deep into all of this in my 6-week sales program, Selling in Flow. I go through all of the potent strategy, consumer psychology, like deep work around the human psyche, but I also combine that with deep mindset because if you're not checked, then it's going to be very hard to sell. You're going to be self-sabotaging. There is so much that goes behind actually selling from an internal perspective. And also I go through energetics and so much more. So if you want to go deep into this, you can join me in Selling in Flow. We go deep over 6 weeks, but today we have like a very short time together. So I've put some of the juiciest pieces that you can actually take away today as my little gift to you. So if you're actually wanting to create those 10K, 50K, 100K, even $1 million months, we need to learn how to sell because how else is the money landing in your bank account? Because I'm going to tell you, even manifestation is not magic. It is science. So we're going to jump into the science behind selling. So there's going to be some few things that you can actually take away and implement today. But like I said, if you want to go deeper, we're going deep for 6 whole weeks. It could have been like a whole 6-year course, to be honest, but I've crammed in to 6 weeks, the most juicy and wide sales program I think anyone's ever taught. So when you understand the deeper consumer psychology, you can then be really intentional and strategic, and it actually allows you to replicate your success. Quite often people are teaching these like, oh, just feel good and sales drop in, but like, how do you replicate that? Like it might happen once, but how do you replicate it time after time? Keep that momentum going, keep that beautiful upwards trajectory happening, and actually just scale your business. Like having those sales on tap is one thing, but knowing exactly how you made that happen is a whole other ball game. And I see a lot of business owners just actually leaving it up to luck. Let me post a few more things. Let me just see if this messaging works a bit better. Let me just like post and hope that one day I'm going to get more sales. And so if you're already getting a bunch of sales coming through you, you've got the audience, you've got the things, like we're just going to turn that dial right up a notch, because if you can do it in more streamlined, like waste less energy on trialing or overthinking messaging for it then to just not land, we're going to eliminate that. And I'm all for building so much flow and ease into your business. Like we're not here to hustle. So let's make it easy. Also, the thing with relying on luck or just like posting is that it's actually going to feel damn unsafe on your nervous system. And the more you scale, guess what? The more uncomfortable, the more unsafe it is going to feel from a really internal perspective. Because if your nervous system feels unsafe holding $5,000 right now, what about when it's $1 million? And you don't know how you made that million, but you don't know if tomorrow it's going to lose it all. You don't know, like, all of these fears are totally rational and we can work on that mindset, but it's a whole nother thing to be like, actually, I know how I can do that. And I know how I can shift into being in a really grounded space to create those sales. So as always, I'm going to be real with you because sales are not always going to be perfectly consistent or perfectly increasing, because sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. And over time, we've got this upwards trajectory. But understanding these few things that I'm going to share with you keeps you in control of your results. It's not like, oh my gosh, I've strapped in for this hectic AF roller coaster and I have no idea what twist and turn is coming next. It's like getting on the roller coaster with a blindfold. Whereas we're still going to get on the roller coaster. Maybe it's more like a child's roller coaster. We're going to strap in and we can see exactly what is happening. We know how to maneuver our body for all the twists and turn to come. So that is going to be the difference. I'm not here to say like every single day you're going to be increasing sales on sales on sales. Over time, yes, that is the goal, but different things happen, right? Seasonality, different things like your energy, all of the things. You're dealing with humans, you are a human. It's not always going to be this perfect equation every single day. So I want to normalize that first, because while I'm talking about being in control of your sales and things, there is still going to be a little bit of movement. So I also want to share there is no 5-step process or like this one size fits all strategy. Like you see the people selling those sales scripts. There is a reason why 2 people could use the exact same script. And I'm going to tell you right now, they do not ever get the same results. The key to knowing how to get results is actually not so much about like this rigid step by step or like a script, but more about being adaptable. And that only comes from actually understanding the deepest reasons why people buy and how to craft a message that is truly memorable and also persuasive. Even some of the best, and even for myself, like I can put a message out there and it doesn't necessarily mean 50,000 people have signed up overnight, but I know that it is a piece that I keep up with consistently, and I know how to tweak the messaging to land differently because everybody buys differently. There are so many different factors that come into this. Let's just get straight into it. The reasons why people buy. I have 3 things that I want to share with you, and I'll give you a hint. It has nothing to do with the pricing, the number of inclusions, or how many hours they get with you. So the first one is it has everything to do with trust. And do you want to know the best way to build trust? Consistency. Consistency is the biggest pillar when it comes to trust. Because if you have a friend who is often flaky, or maybe they're sometimes super reliable and you can count on them, and then other times they are nowhere to be found. As much as you love them, there is a part of you that has a lack of trust, right? Can I count on them or not? So that is why consistency comes in, because a lot of people, when they think of trust, they think of social proof, testimonials. Let me prove why you can trust me. But you don't even necessarily need to say. And while those are all going to be part of it, like social proof, testimonials, amazing, adds to your authority, unless you're consistent, people are going to feel it. It's the friend, right? Sometimes super, super reliable, but I'll also sometimes flaky, or like they just disappear altogether. How do you expect people to trust you if you're sharing like 10 testimonials on one day and then for like months and months, nothing? There's going to be a lack of trust and a lack of memorability as well. Because when you are consistent, when you repeat certain messages, it creates a deeper belief. It gives people more proof why that belief is true. So maybe the belief is, okay, I want people to see me as an authority. The more that you show up as an authority, the more that you share your message in an authoritative way, the more people are receiving that. And it's like, great, I'm going to take all these little bits of proof and put them together, where if you were in a court of law, you could not argue against it, right? There is no way that someone could be like, not enough proof that you're an authority right now. So by being consistent, we're going to build trust. We're also going to build memorability. And this is the biggest piece that people skip, because people think it's more about what they say in the one time. It's what you say ongoing that matters. How you lead yourself. Because if you're just getting your audience all excited, all hot and bothered, all ready to work with you, and then you disappear, like that excitement is going to wear off pretty quickly, like wears off as quickly as it came on. This is not really the state that we want to be in. We want people to be thinking of you when they're brushing their teeth. Literally. The other reason why consistency is important, that you don't just like, oh, I'm a salesman today, let me put my sales hat on, and then I'm going to take my sales hat off, and then I'm just going to be my normal biz owner. Every single person, whether they run a business or not, is a salesman in a way. Salesman, woman, whatever you want to call it, right? You do sales. Because sales is literally just getting someone to say yes to you, yes to your idea, yes to your pitch, yes to buying from you. And so there actually is no on or off switch for selling. You are literally doing it every single day. Even when you share your morning coffee, even when you share about your weekend, things that have nothing to do with what you're selling, guess what? You're selling. So why not actually get good at it, right? If we want to be selling consistently and making those sales ongoing, then we need to get good at realizing every single interaction, the way that you lead yourself, the way that you show up, everything is actually selling. And when we sell consistently, it is giving people just one more reason to buy from you. It is getting people one step closer to being ready to buy. And this is where I see people on the sales roller coaster. They sell and then they're like, oh, hell no, I have had enough selling now. But people only got one piece. And then you wonder why no one's buying or not enough people are buying. And it's because they got one step closer and then they forgot about you and they stepped back. So if you want to take them closer, you need to continue to share information, because I can tell you right now, every time you've lent out and stopped selling, stopped showing up as much, there was at least one person, almost 99% ready to buy from you, and maybe just needed one more piece of information. So the more that we can sell consistently and understand that every single thing we do is selling, the more you're actually going to build that long-term brand. People's nervous systems are going to feel so safe in hiring you. So start to ask yourself, what is one more thing that people need to know to be ready to buy from me? The more information you can give people, and I'm not talking like info, like let's slap up some dot points like XYZ. I'm talking about what do they need to do to feel safe in working with you? So number one, we need to build that trust through consistency. Number two, So the other piece to building trust is going to be seen as an authority. And the way that we can get seen as the authority is by potent and strategic messaging. If you're being consistent, you're showing up all the damn time, but still no one's buying or not enough people are buying, it's because you're not actually communicating it in a way that your dream clients are understanding or where they see you as the authority. Because we can post and sell all damn day, but if the message doesn't actually make someone want to take action, doesn't make them want to click your link, doesn't make them want to upload their credit card details and click sign up, then it is a whole lot of energy wasted. And so this is where it is not so much about what to say, but how you say it. And when you can unlock this, it positions you as a leader. Because the definition of being a leader or an authority is like having people follow you. And while we're not necessarily looking to have people like lining up and we're like, come on, come this way, but you've taken an action and then people have followed you. They've either taken action on what you've said, changed something in their life, changed a way they've thought. So when you can actually sell in this way, it's not necessarily about icky sales strategies. It's about communicating in a way that makes you a leader. So I have two examples I'm going to read. And when it's written, there are so many more visual cues and things that we get to do as well. But since I'm talking right now, I'm going to just read it out to you. But I actually have a whole module in Selling and Flow where I go into like actually how to structure the words, like the width of your sentences actually matters. I go into so many details around how to actually craft something in a visual, but also verbal way that is, again, going to be more memorable, stay in people's minds, and actually make them want to take action as well. There is so much that goes into this. But I'm going to show you through these two examples some massive things that you can start to implement for your current messaging. So let's go. Which of these examples, I want you to tell me either in the comments, in the chat, in the DMs, whatever, I would love to hear, but which of these following examples have the most persuasion and impact? Number one, I am just so excited. I am going to teach you how to overcome self-sabotage with sales in my upcoming program. So here's where you can join. Okay, nice, fun, great. I know what you're going to teach me and I can tell you're excited. So number two, until you overcome the self-sabotaging behaviors with selling, you're going to continue to experience this anxiousness every single time you launch. And no matter what you do, no matter how much you try and post or change your messaging, people still aren't buying and you literally don't know why. And it's because at a subconscious level, you are self-sabotaging. And until we bring awareness to this, you're going to continue to experience this. And it's going to feel hard and heavy when you go to sell. So if you want more sales and you want it to feel easier and less of a hustle, less heavy, then it actually starts with doing the deeper inner work. And guess what? I'm going to teach that. Even though number two was longer, the length actually does not matter. I just did that for this example specifically. They could have been the exact same length, but it is the way that it's framed. It is the format, it is the structuring, it is the wording. A few things I'll pull out for you. Now, the second example is obviously more persuasive, right? Basically what I've done here, and the number one way that I teach selling is not actually selling, because I didn't sell there. What did I do? I taught. I didn't actually sell, I taught. And this is the biggest piece that I teach around selling for everything that I do, and the way that I sell is selling is not selling, it is teaching. And that in itself removes some of that like icky feeling. It's like, oh no, don't worry. I'm not actually selling, I'm now teaching. So I taught you what exactly the issue is. It's probably something you didn't realize before, right? A lot of people think the issue with sales is the strategy, is the template you need. Not a lot of people know that actually it starts with you, your inner world, your mindset. So I taught you that. Because if I just share number one with you, like I am going to teach you how to overcome self-sabotage with sales. Great, but I don't self-sabotage. I just need the strategy. Potentially what people are thinking, right? So by sharing number two, firstly, it was specific. It's like I've got a damn camera in your house and this is going to resonate with the right people. Hey, if you don't overcome this, you're going to feel anxious every time you launch. And you're like, whoa, how did you know I feel anxious? How did you know selling feels heavy for me? I know, right? I know because I've either been there or I've worked with people in that way. So being really specific is going to be more important. But then I've also taught what the solution is. And one of the solutions is. So you can see there's a few different things. Even just the way I articulated or emphasized certain words makes a difference. It makes it stand out. The tonality of my voice went like this. It went up and down. But that is not by accident. So you can literally go and take some of those things and start to just have a look at your stuff. Because the first one was telling. The second one I was teaching. And the number one thing that I see most people do when it comes to selling is they're like, hey, you need this so you can do that. I'm going to show you this. Like it's all telling. People don't want to be told what to do, right? So you can guide them. You can actually do this from the deepest place of service. Because when I sell in this way, I am helping people, whether they sign up or not. I know that even by me selling in that way, people would take a piece away that they're like, oh my gosh, I'm now aware of something. I can now change it. I now understand something on a deeper level. Amazing. But there is also going to be a little seed where they're like, okay, I'm ready. I'm going to join the program, right? So you can see the difference. Also, when you sell this way, you've now just given people value. So again, they're going to remember you more. You're going to build your longer term brand and people are going to remember you when they're brushing their teeth. And that is how we don't necessarily have to be like on this crazy hustle hamster wheel of like sell, 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 because I'm so desperate for the sales. People are just going to come and you'll be like, where did you even come from? I didn't even promote the thing today. Like I can tell you the amount of times I have sold on a Monday about something. And then on a Friday, I'm at the beach, I'm having the best time, and like a $5,000 worth of sales comes in. Now, part of that is going to be like an energetics piece as well, which I love to go deep into. But the second part is they remembered me from Monday and they came and purchased on Friday. It is so much more of a longer term thing when you're not telling. Because when you're telling, people are literally just tapping through your stories or scrolling past your posts. They're like, well, okay, heard it before. Some of my clients have literally even said that they signed up to work with me because they loved watching me sell. Wasn't even necessarily about what I said, but they were like, I just love watching you sell. And I was like addicted to your stories. And so here I am. Like, this is a whole vibe. And this is where you need to get over your fear of being salesy or icky, or because it doesn't have to be. You're not holding a gun to someone's head saying, buy my stuff, you know? It gets to be this beautiful like relationship building and long-term brand building when you understand the deeper messaging and how to build your authority using sales. Number 3, becoming the person people actually need to work with. So because your dream clients need to feel safe when they invest in you, whether it's $2 or $2,000, there needs to be an element of safety, right? And guess what? It starts with being a safe person. And what I mean by this is, firstly, energetics are a huge part of the sales process. People feel your energy. Like, energy literally doesn't lie. You could be saying all of the right things, but it's a feeling that people get. Have you felt that? Like, you've seen someone selling and they're saying how like their money mindset program will change your life. And it's like, okay, you're saying the right things. Like, who doesn't want to change their life? But there's a part of you that is like, I feel like there's something off. I feel like you're not fully embodied in what you're saying right now. Like, it just feels a little bit leaky, the energy. So if you felt it in others, guess what? It matters for you to check yourself when you're selling as well. So, firstly, the thing that we can do when we're looking at this and becoming that safe person is firstly, clean that shit up. Clean it up. Clean up where maybe you're incongruent with what you're selling. Are you fully embodied in it, or did you just launch a money mindset course because you know you can sell it, right? Because people told you, hey, you should launch a money mindset course. And you're like, oh, yeah, I should. I can make money off that. You're not fully embodied in it though. And you may make some sales, but if you want to start charging top dollar, or if you want to start having droves and droves of people coming through, it's going to be an energy thing. And people want to feel that safety. People want to feel that you are you are in congruency with what you are selling. So we need to clean that up first, because no matter how much you want to lie about it, people can feel it. I've even seen people sort of sharing, oh my gosh, I just made $1 million yesterday. But I'm like, I've never once seen you tag a client. I've never once seen you, like, a client talk about you. I've never once seen like a screenshot. And like, while you don't necessarily have to share that from approving energy, I would highly recommend don't share like screenshots and all of this just to prove that you made money. But it's an energy thing. People take note. Even subconsciously, they are like taking note. They're like, okay, she's making $1 million, but then like next week you're saying how you can't pay your bills, or like you've got a picture of a can of beans on your bench and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't even afford my bills. Like, people notice that stuff. So really, really being congruent with it. Now, I will say sometimes with the energy piece, sometimes they're just not your person. And it's like, just not really getting the vibe. Like, that is fine as well. Doesn't mean they're incongruent. Doesn't mean anything other than they're just not your vibe, right? But two, they very well could be incongruent, or there could be like an energy piece missing, or if they are so anxiously attached in a scarcity mindset of no one's buying, no one's buying, no one's buying, you feel it when they sell. They're like, everybody get in my offer, like you have to come on. And it's just, you feel it. So there is so much that goes into like the energy piece. But here's the thing. It is so grounded in how your inner world is working. It is so grounded in your self-sabotage, in your shadows, in the ego work behind it all. And so many people just want to skip this step because guess what? It is the hard work. We've got to actually let our egos down. Everyone has an ego, by the way. It's literally our concept of self, but we've got to let that down and actually say, okay, where am I maybe not bringing clean energy? Where am I having anxiousness around my launches? Where am I not fully embodied or grounded in the deep belief that people are actually coming to buy? And I'm not just talking about like gaslighting ourselves to be like, people are going to buy, because your brain is like, no, they're not, bitch. You know, it doesn't believe it fully. So there are so many things that come underneath it when you update yourself, when you work on this inner work. Because when you update your identity from the most grounded place, shift the shadows, identify the self-sabotage, work on the ego work that you need to, and you actually step into becoming that person who is just great at sales. You no longer have to try to be good at sales because you just are. You then become that leader. So then again, you don't have to try and craft your message to sound like a leader because you just are a leader. And you're making leader badass moves because, like, what other moves would you be making if that's just who you are? People message me all of the time and they're like, Jess, I don't know what you're doing, but the way you're showing up, lady, is such a vibe. And I feel it. This literally is not by accident. And it's also not some heavily crafted strategy. It is literally just who I am and the way that I'm leading myself every single day and evolving every single day, becoming more grounded in who I am, my message, my mission every single day. So while we do need the external strategy and like this deeper understanding, it is just going to flow a whole lot easier when we work on our inner world at the same time. So when sales feel fun and easy and don't result in burnout, we just get to like feel that breeze, feel that ease, right? We get to feel absolutely on fire, but so grounded at the same time. And this is when momentum builds. When we're so confident in leaning into selling rather than leaning out because we're either anxious or avoidant. And that is why sales get to start to show up consistently. So we went into a ton here. This episode is honestly barely scratching the surface on what we go into in selling in flow. And honestly, it is so much more than a sales course. Like, calling it a sales course is underselling it to the max, because like today only just scratched the surface. I go through deeper ego and shadow work, all the self-sabotage that you're not even aware of. I go into the different buyer types, how to communicate to them and get them buying, how to craft your message in a deeper way. I go through things so that you never run out of ideas on what to say. Like, I'm at a point now where I actually have too many ideas and not enough days to say them all. I go into the energetics of sales, storytelling, how to sell different priced offers because it's actually not the same, and just so much more. I'm even adding like 2 whole more weeks into the program. But honestly, this is the most detailed sales program I've ever seen. And I am not seeing enough people talking about all of these elements together. Like, someone either teaches the mindset, but it's like, just feel good and like the sales drop in. But like, great, I can gaslight myself, but that's not going to be for the long term, right? And then there's other people teaching the strategy. But then if you're not leading yourself and the energy's off and like you're self-sabotaging, then like the strategy doesn't even matter. So I'm bringing it all together. We are going to just like blast this out of the water. And people from last round were like, Jess, I don't know who I am, but I'm excited to sell. So if you do want to join, then we have got another live round coming up soon. You can join anytime, but we're going to be starting the next live round in March. So the link is in the show notes. Jump on in, and I cannot wait to celebrate once you're in. So come and send me a DM over on Instagram at Jess.Williamson8. Otherwise, if you have loved this episode and just got so much juice out of it, then please do screenshot, share it to your social media, and I would love to hear how this all landed for you. So I will see you on the next episode.